All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is our final London Scholars Visa webinar for the summer. Thank you for joining. This really is kind of just a last chance session to cover some last questions that folks might have before arrival, which is coming up very soon. Um, so, uh, very excited to have folks on ground in the next about 10 days. So very excited for that. Um, I don't believe we'll take the full hour. So if we just are able to answer some questions for folks during the session and then wrap up and give some folks some time back, then we will look to do that. My name is Jake Goldblum. My pronouns are he, him, and I am one of the associate directors for Global Network first year programs. And I support the London Scholars Program here at Northeastern. I am joined by my colleague from Northeastern University, London, Catherine. So turn over Catherine for your intro, and then you can pass back to me.
Oh, hi everyone. My name is Catherine Baker and I'm the Visa and Immigration Compliance Manager at Northeastern University, London. I oversee the team of visa compliance officers who have been working closely with all of our London Scholar students to ensure that they get their CAS and visa in time for their arrival here in London. We're all very excited to welcome you here to London. We've been having some really nice weather and I'm fingers crossed that it stays that way for you all. But yeah, my team is really excited to see you all at enrollment. So today I'll be working with Jake to answer any of your last minute questions and see how I can assist you with anything that you need for the visa process.
Amazing. Thank you, Catherine. And so the way that this can work today is if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box that you'll see at the bottom of your screen. And then if we're able to answer the question in the session, I can read it out and Catherine can go ahead and provide as much context or information as is available right now. As always, we recommend that if you have very specific situations or nuanced information that pops up, we do ask that you reach out to your visa compliance officer or a visa compliance officer in Cash Shield using the messaging function. And you can always email the visa team as well with your specific questions, just because we might not be able to pull up specific information today, but we'll do our best. And Catherine is always great at answering all the questions. So, all right, so let's see here. Let's see. We have a question here. Okay, so Catherine, this one is about visa checks upon
Sure.
arrival. So this question is about the visa check times that will be assigned. And can you just give any information about where students can see what their visa check time would be and just kind of like what that process looks like for the visa checks?
Yeah, sure. So all London scholars need to undergo visa and registration checks with the visa team and our registry team, and that's an on-campus process. Students will be brought from their accommodation by residence life coordinators to the checks, and students will have allotted times. Those times will be shared with students either by their RLCs, or they might be able to find that in Guidebook, which I believe has been sent as a link in the Know Before You Go email, or will be shared shortly. But that is something that students need to do, and that's going to be taking place on the Sunday. And that's a really important thing that students will turn up for. It's actually a mandatory task because until you have completed your visa checks and your registration, you don't get your student ID and you won't be able to participate in any of the fun activities that we have on campus. I know that we have lots of things going on over the week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then, right through. It's really important that students are involved in all of the activities each day because it relates to academics, it relates to the social setting of the university, not just the fun theatre activities and student union activities that we have going on, but we do have our academic advising sessions happening. So it's really important that students are there for every single day of the welcome week.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. And yeah, the note before you go will be going out shortly. So please be checking your Northeastern email address for that. So yeah, thanks for that note, Catherine. All right. So this question is about a BRP card. So this is asking, do we have to come to Northeastern University London to collect our BRP immediately from the airport?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So BRPs are actually handed out to students at visa checks. It's not a requirement that you come and collect them straight away. We as a university are holding them for the students, and they're given out at enrollment, at registration and the visa check. So what happens is we check everything, make sure that the students have the correct visas to be studying in the UK, and then that's when the BRP is handed over to the student.
Perfect. Thank you, Catherine. All right. And this is about, what documents should be just carried in general. But this question is, what official documents should be carried for airport security other than the offer letter and visa? And then if you want to just speak to the requirements that for visa checks as well, Catherine, for the documents that you all would need.
Yeah, sure. So, in terms of airport security, official documents should be carried in hand luggage. So that is the visa and the passport, like was mentioned, and the offer letter. We do have, I believe the offer letter might be the enrollment letter, it might be one and the same, but that's available on your app status check, and you'll need to carry that. It's always a good idea to include the bank statements that we use during the visa application process, as border officers may ask to see proof of funds and how students are going to support themselves during their time in the UK. If the bank statements that we used during the visa application were in parents' names, then a copy of the birth certificate and the letter of consent from the parent is also good to carry. The qualifications used for the CAS, so diploma certificates or transcripts, that is also good to carry with you during your arrival at Heathrow or any of the other London airports. It's highly unlikely that students will be asked for them, but of course there is an off chance of that, and it's important that students are able to provide that documentation when asked by a border officer. It might be a little bit daunting to having to carry those sorts of documentations with you when you're traveling, but make sure that you're just keeping it in a safe place in your hand luggage, and when you get to your accommodation you can store it away for safekeeping it in your room. And then in terms of enrollment, registration, what you'll need to bring is the passport with the entry clearance visa inside, and then also the qualification that was on the CAS. So on your CAS letter down the bottom, there is a section called evidence used, and it will list the qualification or qualifications that we use during your CAS process. And it's really important that you need to bring that exact document to registration. So if it says high school diploma certificate, you need to bring the high school diploma certificate. Again, I know it's a bit daunting having to carry such an important document with you, but it is part of regulations that we check that in person, because it is a hard copy document and we need to verify that it's all true and correct. If parents are concerned about that document being in London, you can always arrange with your student to either courier it back using a tracking service courier, so that it comes straight back home after registration, or making sure that your student is aware of how important that document is and how important it is to file that away for safekeeping, and then bring it home with them, perhaps during the Thanksgiving break or Christmas.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. And I know that in the Know Before You Go document, in the guide that we're going to be sending, we've also listed a lot of the same information. Catherine actually wrote up the information for the guide, and it'll be some bullet points about the things to bring. So that will also be available as well. And of course, if you have specific questions, again, just contacting the visa team and utilizing Cash Shield if you have specific questions about those pieces. All right. So we are slowing down on questions, which is totally fine. So I want to give Catherine a minute here Catherine, if you are seeing anything that I'm not seeing in the questions that you would like to answer, or if there's any additional thoughts that you have that you would like to share, any important information, things you want to highlight, want to give you an opportunity to do that.
Sure. So I'm just looking, there's a question about IB diploma. So for that person who's just asked a question about the IB diploma, just check your CAS. I believe that it should say transcript of results. And if that is the case, we would have used an electronic qualification. And in that case, we will be not needing to verify that at registration. But just to make sure, please email the visa team. Our email address is visa@nulondon.ac.uk, or type a message to your VCO on Cash Shield, and they'll be able to confirm exactly what documentation you need to bring with you. In terms of sort of last thoughts, I think it's important that all students have made sure that they've uploaded their vignette, their visa vignette, their visa sticker to Enrollee. It's really important that you do that before you travel, just because we want to check everything is correct. And we also use that to check against your BRP card, so that those have all been arriving to us over the past couple of months. We feel like Santa. We get a big Santa mail bag full of your BRP cards, and we check those off every day. And we really need that visa vignette to check it against it to make sure that all of your details are correct. The other thing to note is, please do not travel to the UK until you either have your visa or until your visa actually begins. So on your vignette, that sticker, that visa sticker, you'll see a valid from date. That's the date that you're allowed to enter the UK from. I know a lot of people are not on the group flights. I know some people are independently traveling around Europe at the moment. I'm very jealous, but it's really important that you don't enter the UK until that valid from date, because if you might be stopped at the border, or you might enter the UK on the wrong visa. If you do enter the UK on the wrong visa, we won't be able to enroll you. So it's really important that you're following those dates very, very carefully. Again, if you have any questions, about your specific situation, do reach out to the visa team and we'll let you know. Just to reiterate, I can see that we've had another message about the documents. So all students will be sent an email later on this week with a whole lot of information. One of those being what students should pack with them for enrollment, registration, and also traveling through the airport. I would also note that there is a wealth of other information coming from all different university departments. And that's really important stuff. So I implore students and parents and family to take the time to sit down, read through that thoroughly, and make sure that you're understanding everything and that you are following all of the instructions given. The teams here are working so hard to make everything really perfect for your arrival and your stay with us in London. And we want to get all of that important information to you because a lot of it is about your arrivals, how you're going to get from the airport and checking into your accommodation, what your days in Welcome Week are going to look like. I believe stop me if I'm wrong, Jake, there is sign-ups for events. Are they going out and know before you go?
Yeah, and there'll be some information about that, but students also, I believe, should have gotten information directly to their Northeastern email with some notes about that in the Welcome Week newsletter from the Student Life team. So, so yeah, definitely. I think totally want to echo Catherine's sentiment here of, the next week or so, it's going to be extremely important to just be checking that email daily for all the different updates and all the different resources that we'll be sending your way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Catherine, for working with us after hours in the UK.
No
Uh,
problems.
that that's a thing that I know that all folks need to get used to in the US or abroad to the UK time zone difference. So so yeah, thank you, Catherine. Thank you to your team. Thank you everybody for joining us, and have a great rest of your day. And yeah, just be on the lookout for some additional resources in the next few days here. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Can't wait to see you all at registration.
Awesome.